And once again, we are very honored to have in the RX booth, joining the Morning Rush, Ambassador Philip Goldberg.
All right, so again, if you actually check out our Facebook page, you'll see that we posted a photo there with the ambassador. It's on facebook.com/rx931. Now, on the photo, he's holding up a sign that says hashtag #OurOcean2014.
You can see me, I'm the young one.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's #OurOcean2014.
Yes. So, what exactly, is this hashtag all about?
Well, this month is Oceans Month.
Oceans Month.
Oceans Month. And the reason that we declared it so, our Secretary of State, after attending a meeting in February, is that the oceans are such an important part of our lives, and especially as Adele was saying, here in the Philippines, it being an archipelago, being surrounded by water. The oceans are life itself. It's water, it's fish, it's all the things that we need. It's the things that are part of our environment. And what we've seen over time with the degradation of the environment is also in the oceans. And so what we're doing this month, including an important meeting in Washington on the 16th and 17th of June, at which the Philippines will be represented, is to recognize the oceans and the importance of the oceans to our environment, to our world, and to protect the oceans. One of my colleagues pointed out that Arthur Clarke, the underseas explorer, kind of said that it was ironic that we call this Earth when in fact most of the world is covered by water.
Yeah.
That's right.
And so there are so many things happening out there that are going in the wrong direction. And you see some of them here. We were talking before about Manila Bay and some of the pollution there. And we also see that in waters around the world. The acidity that is happening because of the climate change that we see going on. And that acidity means there'll be fewer fish, and the fishing stocks will be depleted. So all of those things mean that we ought to do something to try to counteract the overfishing, the pollution, all the things that we need to do. So President Obama, as I mentioned, declared it June to be Oceans Month, and that's what the hashtag is all about. So what we're doing from the embassies around the world, but here what we're doing is to encourage people, and I encourage all the rushers out there and listeners of Monster Radio to join our Thunderclap campaign, a worldwide shout-out to save our oceans. And
okay, nice.
And the way I can tell you to do that is to go to our website, ourocean2014.state.gov. Click our Thunderclap and register using your Facebook, Twitter, or Tumblr accounts. That's ourocean2014, one without any breaks, .state.gov, ourocean2014.state.gov. And after that, after you click on Join Our Thunderclap, the message, Our Ocean is under threat. Join people all over the world and make a difference. And then hashtag Our Ocean 2014 will be automatically posted on your behalf by June 16th. At the same time as all other registrants, so it's kind of a thunderclap to try to recognize all of what I've just been talking about.
So this is more an awareness campaign?
It is, but it's also part of our overall effort to deal with climate change and the environment that is so important at the moment. What you'll be seeing also in the next while, in the next couple of years, is a great effort by the United States, among other countries, to come to an agreement on the reduction of carbon emissions.
Right.
And in the United States, President Obama and the Environmental Protection Agency have already announced a 30% reduction by the United States by 2030 unilaterally. We've already started that trend since 2005. Our emissions have dropped 7%. And what we're trying to do in the lead up to the next big world conference in Paris in 2015 is to get other countries involved and agree to some of these changes. It's not easy because countries, especially developing countries, need still to burn some coal for power plants. So what we're asking countries to do is to put forward a plan at that 2015 conference, that by 2020 this is where we'll be. This is how we're trying to reduce carbon emissions. Because what we talk about in the context of the Philippines, which is hugely important, is that you have to be prepared and you have to take measures to be resilient and put mangroves in different ocean areas, build away from the coast, build new structures that are resistant to the very strong typhoons and other events and water surges. But that's only part of it. If we don't deal with the larger or longer term problem of the carbon emissions and the things that may be causing this, and there are some people who don't believe the science, but 8% of the scientists in the world believe this, and say it's scientifically proven that these emissions contribute to the trend, then we're going to have worse storms, and at a certain point the resilience and the disaster preparedness will be like fingers in the dike. You won't be able to stop it. It's good for a while, and it's very important. And developed countries have contributed to the ability of developing countries to deal with these issues through contributions to a world fund. They're not as high as some people would like, those contributions. People have talked about $100 billion, but it's not there. And I don't know, given the fiscal situations in the West, that is going to, among developed countries, that's going to happen. But what we can do together, especially with some of the larger countries, and here I'm talking not just about the United States, obviously, where we're trying to deal with the issue unilaterally, at some political risk to our president, because he's doing it through executive action, not through legislation, is to urge countries like China and India and some of the big emitters now, who have surpassed the United States in the case of China by considerable amounts, that it has to be shared. And that sharing goes down to all countries, including the Philippines and others, to do their part. And I think it's probably obvious to your listeners why it's so important for the Philippines, because the Philippines is one of the most vulnerable countries to these trends of acidity in the waters, of higher surges of water, of more powerful storms. All of those things contribute to a dangerous situation for the Philippines.
But I think 2014 is a remarkable year because when President Obama made that happen, to actually acknowledge climate change as a real thing, then it started like all these, the awareness from that level to all the movement, and people are starting to talk about it.
And this is very close to our hearts because we are a lot of our communities are coastal, and in as much as we are also in countries like the Philippines with so many coasts, are in one of the best positions to harm or help
Actually,
the oceans.
It really doesn't matter which part of the world you're in.
Either way, we're all affected.
We're all affected. That's why the campaign is globally.
Yeah.
It has to be globally, and every person has to contribute to that drive.
And this is what the Thunderclap is all about. Also, it's to let everyone know.
And you might think of it as pollution is local, but the climate change is global.
It's global,
There are things you can do to clean up the Pasig River, or there are things you can do to try to cut down on pollution in the air in Manila, including going to electric vehicles, doing things, hopefully more people being able to take mass transit. But when it comes to the climate change issues and the emissions, if it's not done in a coordinated global fashion, it's not going to work.
Actually, it's true. Like here in the Philippines, September is cleanup month, and the divers, we go to the oceans and we have like little bags and we get the whatever garbage
you can find.
But when we start picking garbage, we have this helpless feeling like getting a grain of sand from the beach, and
you're like,
it's just too much.
We actually had people from the embassy on Monday participate in the cleanup. I was at Corregidor about a month ago, and I looked along the coast, and there were all these bottles and other garbage. And I was told it came from Manila.
Yeah.
It just goes right out. So again, there are things you can do locally to deal with those kinds of issues. But the big issue of climate change is one that we have to do together.
Yeah.
You have to look big.
And I admit that the United States and developed countries are in a different position than others. That I understand the argument that we are coming to this late in the game in a sense, but because we have contributed to the problem.
Right.
But we still are where we are, and if we don't deal with this, and President Obama said when he was here that future generations won't forgive us for at least not trying.
For not trying.
I was watching an interview on Stephen Goldberg, and that was a big question. I mean, the damage is already done. The glaciers are melting; they're coming into the sea, and why will the efforts that we are now doing help in any way at all? And this writer was saying, yes, better that than nothing.
Than nothing at all. Where you just, make things worse even.
Well, we're getting to a critical juncture where the reversibility of this will be called into question. That's why we need to move forward. We believe it right now.
Right. So the hashtag is?
The hashtag is OurOcean2014.
But if you actually go to the website, it can post it for you.
Yeah. And I think that's what Thunderclap.
OurOcean2014.state.gov.
And then if you scroll down, there's a button there that says Join Our Thunderclap.
Yes.
Once you click on that, there are options that'll tell you that you can share it on Twitter, on Facebook, on Tumblr. Even the amount of time left that you can join.
As the ambassador said, if you sign up and register there on the 16th, a tweet will be posted on your behalf, and everyone who registers. I mean, this will fill all the timelines.
Yeah. Right.
And what we're hoping to do is to have people have at least the awareness that there is a problem.
You know how when there is a literal thunderclap, it gets everybody's attention.
Yeah.
It's like
that's kind of what we're doing,
a
but
virtual
only on social media.
Social media. So this is the big thing that, of course, this is the message of the ambassador today for everybody, and definitely something that all Filipinos, actually every citizen of the world, has to be a part of. And one of the things that I always ask is sometimes we get overwhelmed by the hopelessness of the situation. Because Mother Nature is
just sit it out and not do anything.
Or be scared.
And
if you're scared, you won't do anything. But this might be the first step. So
and sometimes, how people say, yeah, I want to help out, but I don't know where
how
to start.
Yeah.
This could be a start.
Well, here's one. I mean, just click a button.
Click a button, and hopefully your participation in the campaign against global warming and the climate in general.
Yeah.
This will start you off on that journey because it starts with awareness, and next thing you know,
you're doing something about it.
You're doing something about. You know what this reminds me of? Horton Hears the Who.
Yeah.
You know how there was one person who wasn't doing his job, and then all it needed was that one person to start screaming. So think of yourself as that person who might actually, contribute to the tipping point where we might actually be able to do something
about it. Yeah.
Right.
Well, we are hopeful that we will be able to do something. That's why the United States, that's why President Obama, that's why Secretary Kerry are putting their shoulder to the wheel and trying to get attention for this issue now. President Obama has 2.5 years left in office, and he has committed to make this one of his signature issues while he's still president of the United States.
And I love how the hashtag is
our ocean.
Yeah. It's not just ocean.
It's not just Ocean 2014.
Yeah, it's like our ocean.
We were talking before about diving and about the biodiversity of the Philippines and ecotourism and the things that this country has to offer. And if you think about it in that context, it is nothing more than self-interested. If you don't want to even get to the global issue and the world that we share, that we have to do something about this to preserve the beauty of the Philippines.
Actually, you know what?
At its most selfish level,
Yes.
it's still good.
It's still
Yeah.
At least you're still doing something about it.
Something.
Yeah.
And you know, one of the comments that we most hear with people who, let's say they do an intro dive, the first time they ever go diving, it's like one of the most common comments is that they have a deeper appreciation of what
Of our planet.
you need to save.
Yeah.
Because you know, sometimes when you're above water, all
You
you
don't
see
really
are
see
waves.
what's going on down there.
And then once you take a peek at just how incredible our oceans are, a very, very small peek, then you're like, please don't ruin this.
Well, if you look at the coral, and then when there's bleaching and some of the effects of the acidity, you see exactly that.
Actually, even just snorkeling, you'll see it.
You'll
already.
see it. In Palawan, the bleaching is so obvious, and that's just a couple of degrees hotter, like from years ago, maybe 1 or 2, and it's already created that much damage. So if we don't arrest it, it's going to get worse.
There's also, and this is part of it in terms of the oceans, not necessarily in terms of the global issues of climate change, the overfishing.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
And some of the practices that have been used here, and I'm very pleased that there's been progress made on dynamite fishing and cyanide fishing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost impossible to think that people would use those things to try to do mass fishing. So there's the overfishing of stocks and also the manner of fishing.
Yeah.
Right.
And of course, that's only the tip of the iceberg. I mean, like what Ambassador Goldberg was saying earlier. You know, if you let this slide, you know, typhoons will get worse.
And we've seen that all around the world. The
Exactly.
storms are getting fiercer.
Way more than
Heat
a lot
waves.
of countries.
But even the United States, it's like the past year, the heat wave it's getting hotter. The summers are getting hotter.
Droughts,
Droughts.
more rain in certain places,
Yeah.
You know-
Hurricane Sandy, the rising, you know, Miami Beach is now flooded a lot of the time. Not by storms, but just by the surge because of the rising water. And Manhattan has had, in New York, has had to take all kinds of measures to try to build up seawalls, and it's happening along our east coast. So all of those things, in our case, we need to do something. Again, preparedness and adaptation, extremely important. But also that we have to try to reverse the trend also.
And you know, like if you travel around the world, wherever it is you go to, if you talk to like resorts, it's weird. Try asking them, okay, when's a safe time to go where it's not raining? And like 90% would say, you know, nowadays
You never know.
You can't really predict the weather.
It's really just messing with everything.
And it doesn't matter which part of the
Yeah,
world. You
right.
ask them that question, and they will tell you, it used to be it's safe this month, but nowadays you never know.
Yeah.
I think this is Mother Nature's wake-up call.
Yeah.
There used to be an old commercial, I'm trying to remember what brand it was for, and there was Mother Nature herself, and she used to say, never fool with Mother Nature, because there was some sort of product that was being advertised. And that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
We're fooling around with Mother Nature.
And she's angry.
Yeah, she's angry.
She's very angry.
So again, it's Our Ocean 2014. That's OUROCAN 2014.
Yes.
That's a hashtag.
.state.gov.
Okay, and also
That's the website.
That's the website, and
Yeah.
also the hashtag is #OurOcean2014.
Right, and then once you get to the website, just scroll down a little bit.
Join the Thunderclap.
join
That's
the
what we're
Thunderclap.
That would be a
hoping.
great thing.
And then it'll post the status for you. Actually,
We're going to do this.
I'm already on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
All three of us
different
would do it,
Yes.
and well, this is the big message that we have from the ambassador today, and what a worthy issue to talk about. Seriously.
I know.
All right, well, thank you so very much for being with us.
Well,
we know
thank you very much.
Thank you.
we know you're very busy.
Well, go about my regular rounds now, but this was a lot of fun, and I'm glad we were able to talk to the Rushers about this initiative that we have on the oceans and also the environment more generally. So thanks to all three of you.
Exactly.
Thank
And
you.
so we'll definitely check out the website.
Uh-huh.
Right.
And we encourage everybody to do so. And once again, thank you very much to the Honorable Philip Goldberg, American Ambassador to the Philippines.